Betfair Group plc is the world's largest internet betting exchange. The company is based in Hammersmith in West London, England. In 2011 Betfair went offshore and became registered and licensed in Gibraltar. Since March 9, 2011 its betting exchange operated under an offshore license. History: the company was founded in 2000 by Andrew Black and Edward Ray, who subsequently won the Ernst & Young Emerging Entrepreneur of the Year award. In 2003, the company was one of about 50 recipients of the Queen's Awards for Enterprise in the Innovation category. In October 2005 Chief Executive Stephen Hill announced his resignation when the board decided not to proceed with plans for a stock market flotation, the investors holding out for a higher valuation. In November 2005 the Tasmanian government announced a deal to license Betfair in the state. It was the second license awarded to Betfair outside the UK, the first being in Malta, with subsequent licenses following in Austria and Germany, and Tasmania now receives substantial tax revenues. However, it infuriated the established monopolistic totalisators and bookmakers and governments in the other Australian states. A ban on the use of betting exchanges took effect in Western Australia on January 29, 2007, with Betfair successfully claiming this new law violated the Constitution of Australia. In a unanimous verdict by the High Court of Australia on March 27, 2008, the two provisions of the legislation, purporting to ban Western Australians from using a betting exchange and prohibiting an unauthorised business from using Western Australian race lists, were declared invalid as they applied to Betfair. The provisions were characterised as imposing a burden on interstate trade that was protectionist in nature, and therefore contravened Section 92 of the Constitution. The court decision suggests, but leaves open, that a more narrowly drafted ban may have been allowed. SoftBank purchased 23% of Betfair in early April 2006, valuing the company at £1.5 billion. In December 2006, Betfair completed the purchase of the horse racing publishing company Timeform. In March 2007, Betfair launched its own Betfair radio service, available via its website, on the telephone and elsewhere. This has now become Timeform Radio, broadcasting horse racing commentary and results. Betfair won its second Queen's Award for Enterprise, this time for international trade, in April 2008. It joined an elite group of multiple Queen's Award winners and was recognition of the fact that over half of all new customers now come from outside the UK and they account for 44% of all revenue. On January 27, 2009, Betfair announced the purchase of the TVG network in the United States from Macrovision $50 million USD as part of Macrovision's dissolving of TV Guide's assets. In November 2009, Betfair announced a deal with the New York Racing Association that allows Betfair's customers to start wagering immediately on Aqueduct's thoroughbreeding races. Betfair floated on the London Stock Exchange with a stock symbol of BET on October 22, 2010 at £13, valuing the company at £1.4 billion. In March 2011 the company moved some of its operations to Gibraltar to reduce the amount they paid in tax. In 2012, Betfair launched a fixed odds sports betting service to compete with traditional bookmakers. On April 7, 2014 Betfair launched its Betfair exchange in Italy. In August 2014, Net Entertainment NEAB entered into a partnership with Betfair to expand its reach into the UK market. Operations: since Betfair was launched in June 2000 it has become the largest online betting company in the UK and the largest betting exchange in the world. Betfair claims to have over 4 million customers and a turnover in excess of £50 million a week. As of April 2013, the company employed 1,800 people worldwide, down from 2,300 people. Betfair claims on average 20% better odds than those offered by a traditional bookmaker. Betfair charges a commission on all winning bets, which is set at 5% of the net winnings for most markets, although according to how much a client wagers on the site, it is possible to reduce the amount of commission paid to as low as 2%. In late autumn of 2005, Betfair finalized a deal that began in early summer, to purchase the online poker site PokerChamps.com, which the company will integrate into its network, replacing a poker arm that previously used gaming technology software from CryptoLogic Incorporated. On October 30, 2006, Betfair Poker left the CryptoLogic network to move to its new platform. In a press release, the company's then poker head, Ben Fried, stated, "Having our own poker software puts us in command of our own destiny. It means we can react quickly to customer feedback and continue to develop an innovative, community-focused product. We are confident that we are laying the foundations of a market-leading poker room." Cash for Clubs is a sports funding scheme set up and funded by Betfair. The scheme provides sports grants to local community sports clubs. In-play betting, Betfair offer in-play betting on a variety of horse racing events. There has been some controversy surrounding bets placed on events televised by the satellite channel at the races. This is because the live transmissions can be subject to delays of up to 5 seconds. Betfair's live video service, offered on its website, typically offers lower latencies. Tennis courtsiding. In January 2014, the 22-year-old son of a Surrey police detective Daniel Dobson was arrested at the Australian Open Tennis Championships in Melbourne. 1. Dobson was held on suspicion of corrupting a sporting event after he was apprehended courtside with a concealed score signalling device sewn into his underpants. After the high-profile arrest, Dobson's employer publicly unveiled himself as being 49-year-old former Betfair senior computer engineer Stephen High of Sporting Data Limited. The other directors of the company were also former senior Betfair personnel, namely Martin Pendlebury and Simon Allen. High publicly stated that his employee was not in Australia to actively interfere in the matches but was there to send him live scores without the legal permission of the data rights owners Enit Pulse, a subsidiary of IMG. High further said that he used the data to place bets against other Betfair customers who were gambling in play using normal television feeds. High gave a radio interview to 774 ABC Melbourne in January 2014 in which he publicly admitted that he was effectively employing Dobson to steal sports data for his syndicate. 2. He was also asked why Sporting Data had a relatively modest financial turnover. High responded that he channeled the proceeds of his business into personal gambling accounts in order to avoid paying any tax. There was much disquiet when it was revealed that the Sporting Data syndicate made up 20% of Betfair's in-play tennis liquidity. It also transpired that High himself worked closely with Betfair founder Andrew Black. 3. Black said that High was the man who implemented his ideas and made them functional on the website. In March 2014, the Australian prosecutor announced that the charge against Dobson that he had been illegally relaying information from the Australian Open for the possible benefit of bettors elsewhere was to be dropped. 4. Subsequently, Stephen High gave an interview to a journalist along with Sporting Data chief courtsider Richard Coughlin in which he said that he had stopped betting on tennis to concentrate on horse racing and soccer. He also said that he was developing a new betting model based upon the psychological performance of Asian sportsmen and women. 5. Coughlin stated that he had himself retired from courtsiding in the interview OEO, "I loved it." Coughlin, 27, said of his courtsiding job, which paid an annual salary of about £40,000. OEIA unregistered trademark D love to still be doing it now. 6. Premium charge. In September 2008, Betfair introduced a premium charge for wagerers whose winnings were deemed to be disproportionately high when compared to the amount of commission they pay. Specifically, members whose commission charges amount to less than 20% of their gross profits are required to pay the additional charge to make up the difference. Even though Betfair insisted that the charge would only affect a very small portion of its members, it attracted a great deal of criticism on its member forum and from the broader exchange betting community. According to The Guardian, the charge has significantly changed the relationship between Betfair and its customers, as Betfair can no longer claim to be a neutral bet exchange provider, where winners are welcome. In June 2011, Betfair raised its premium charge to 60% for some customers, a move which was met by outrage. Suspicious betting patterns. The fact that sports wagerers can use exchanges to lay outcomes has caused tremendous criticism from traditional bookmakers, with much of the anger coming from the UK's Big Three: Gala Coral Group, Ladbrokes and William Hill. Betfair has led their defense by countering that while corruption is possible on any gambling platform, the bookies' arguments are motivated not by concern for the integrity of sport but by commercial interests. Betfair also asserts that unlike the high street brokers, who all accept anonymous cash bets, Betfair is aware of who their customers are. Customers are required to create personal accounts, and Betfair keeps records of each customer's betting history. Betfair in particular has noted that they have signed numerous information-sharing agreements with governing bodies around the world with whom they cooperate fully on matters if the latter suspects corruption to have taken place. The company shares information through agreements with some 30 sports bodies, such as the Lawn Tennis Association and the British Horse Racing Association, and has been instrumental in several high-profile investigations into suspicious betting. In 2006, high-profile racehorse owner and professional gambler Harry Findlay was quoted as saying, "Most people believe I'm a walking advert for Betfair." In 2010, gambler Findlay was banned by the British Horse Racing Authority for using the exchange to bet against his own horse Gullible Gordon from winning. Findlay had achieved fame in horse racing through his ownership of the steeplechaser Denman, winner of the 2008 Cheltenham Gold Cup. At the disciplinary hearing into Findlay's lay betting against Gullible Gordon, it was revealed that Findlay had been in financial difficulty and that Betfair had allowed him to use the account of a friend racehorse owner Eamon Wilmot. In a further twist, the lay bets were actually made on Betfair by Findlay associate Glenn Gill. In August 2007, Betfair took the unprecedented step to void all bets following a tennis match between Martin Arguello and Nikolay Davydenko because of suspicious betting patterns. Advertising bans. In September 2009, the Advertising Standards Authority banned Betfair from running 2 billboard adverts which claimed that their starting price offered 40% better returns, on average, than the industry SP. The ASA found that only 10% of the bets used by Betfair in their calculations yielded at least 40% better returns than the industry SP. In early 2011, the Advertising Standards Authority banned another advert used by the company. The ad featured 2 men in a pub discussing a sports match who were interrupted by a third a middleman passing comments between the pair before being hit in the face by an animated mouse cursor. A voiceover then stated, "€E on Betfair, you cut out the middleman, which means you could win bigger €." The regulator said that although Betfair a unregistered trademark betting exchange differs from traditional bookmakers, the description a cutting out the middleman was ambiguous and misleading because the site takes a 5% commission fee on winnings, which could be perceived as a middleman role. A £23 million winning bets voided by the exchange. In December 2011, Betfair voided all in-running bets on a race at Leopardstown when Betfair claimed that an automated customer laid the winning horse Volo Lovedet at odds of 28-1, even as the mare crossed the finish line. Betfair claimed that the bet, which resulted in a maximum liability of close to £600 million, was caused by a technical glitch, and there was only £1,000 in the customer's account. Interestingly, the company never gave any details as to the identity of the alleged customer, and nor did they comment upon his betting habits or account exposure. The incident has led to much speculation in the media that Betfair themselves are active in their own markets as proprietary traders. The controversy was described as devastating by Betfair CEO Stephen Marana, and it affected at least 200 customers who were refused more than £23 million in winnings. Some of these customers are believed to be pursuing their case with the independent adjudication body IBAS, as Betfair no longer falls under the jurisdiction of the Gambling Commission since its move to Gibraltar in 2011. References. Further reading: Bowers, Simon. Betfair steps in to bail out punters. The Guardian. November 17, 2004. Retrieved July 1, 2011. How Betting Online Began, An Easy Birth. The Economist. July 16, 2009. Retrieved July 1, 2011. Goodley, Simon. Betfair to buy back £50 million shares months after its flotation. The Guardian. June 29, 2011. Retrieved July 1, 2011. External links: official website, official Australian website, Betfair frequently asked questions, Betfair mobile app for professional exchange users.